Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Middle-Aged Outlaws podcast. The podcast where two middle-aged, cynical and jaded Scottish wrestling fans try to find any modicum of joy through the greatest form of entertainment in history, professional wrestling. Adam, today we are in the mood for love as we head on into February of 1999 for St. Valentines Day Massacre. What I think was maybe the final ever WWF In Your House show until NXT picked it up many years later. But yeah, last ever WWF In Your House show. It was never sort of framed as that. It's always been St. Valentine's Day Massacre to me. Yeah, last time we did Royal Rumble.
Yep.
I think we both came away quite relatively enthused, putting aside the chair shots and the lack of general wrestling. This time, February, Valentine's Day Massacre, how do we feel?
I mean, it's all about the main event, or it feels like it's all about the main event. And we're very much on the road to WrestleMania. It's all about the storyline build for where we're going to go. And a lot of it felt to me like it was kind of filler. The fact it's In Your House, see, after you mentioned it, because I didn't know that, and then when I put it on, I thought, I wonder if it'll be like quite short, but it's not. It's 2 hours 45, I think, which is pretty standard at this point in time. But I don't know that an awful lot of it was absolutely necessary. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think that with the Royal Rumble, we have maybe been duped a little because I felt like we enjoyed the preliminary matches before it got to the important stuff of Rock Mankind and the Rumble. And then the Rumble basically takes an hour out of the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
This time, there is no Royal Rumble. Yes, there's the two main matches, but then we're left with quite a lot, like you say, of what feels like sort of not really important at all matches to kind of almost force your way through, which isn't a great place to be. And surprising that we talk about filler on what is arguably their sort of most important time of the year, going towards WrestleMania.
I think it'll be interesting when because you know, a WrestleMania is a WrestleMania, and we'll see what we think of that when we get to it. But once we get beyond the WrestleMania, I think it'll be interesting to see what we're thinking.
It's where it all falls apart. Yeah, that is certainly the issue we had with 1998 when we tried to go on a pretty similar endeavour. Although we did have WCW and ECW to wrestle with as well, but let's talk about this then. I think if we update ourselves, The Rock and Mankind had their ridiculously violent Royal Rumble I Quit match.
Yeah.
They then, the following week, I want to say, from there, they had their halftime heat match in the empty stadium, where the title changed back to Mankind, I think. And that's how we end up going into this show with Mankind as the champion.
Yeah.
We've got Shamrock as our intercontinental champion, and he retained at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Our tag titles have changed significantly since the Royal Rumble because it was Shamrock and Bossman who were holding them.
That's right, yeah.
Now it's Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart, who I'm not actually even sure if they were a tag team at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I don't remember it being mentioned that they were anyway. Yeah.
We've had China turn her back on DX and join the corporation, apparently for a big wad of cash. I don't recall anybody else moving to the corporation for money, but we've had China leave DX, which just has meant more TV time for China, which for me is a terrible thing.
Not a big China fan.
The voice, the selling. We'll get to the match, but the selling, my God. Not a big China man. not a big China fan, I think.
Yeah,
better.
We'll go with that, yeah.
So, last time at the Rumble, there was definitely things we talked about enjoying. We liked Shamrock, I seem to remember. Shamrock and Billy Gunn had a good match, and we were quite taken away with the fans, the crowd reaction to things, the sort of simplicity of faces versus heels, and the way that the crowd reacted to that. I think that must have been the novelty. It has to have been, because I just, that didn't jump out at me this time. What about you?
So the crowd reaction, it felt like it was pretty much there across the card, didn't it? At the Rumble, they were popping for everything and everyone. I think there are still crowd pops here, but it's not for everything. It's a bit more selective. There's definitely, we'll get to what we're talking about, but I think they are very against Big Boss Man against Mideon being on this pay-per-view. I think they're watching thinking, this is a Raw match, why have we paid money to come and see this? So I think they're chanting, this is boring, throughout a lot of that match. There's, I think, a few, obviously you're going to get an Austin pop. You just are, and it's huge. And I think you also, they're clearly invested, I think, in the Mankind versus The Rock feud. But beyond that, I don't know that the crowd were overly into this.
No. And who could blame them? When you kick off with Goldust versus Blue Dust, and they're showing the video package, and Blue Meanie is lying on a couch with just flowers covering himself, painted blue, being, I mean, this is our Russonomics. This is us learning in real time, because whilst I think generally as a principle we think it's good that everybody has a storyline, this is where it's not good that everybody has a storyline.
So at this point in time, ECW are still active. This is, where are we?
February 99, yep.
Yeah. So Blue Meanie has had a decent run in ECW. He's established, the crowd react to him. And then he's obviously been brought across. And
which is quite crazy to think of.
Like, you wouldn't think you would look at that full roster and be like, that guy. You know, no disrespect to Blue Meanie. But I think they're just going for weird in the whole Goldust Blue Meanie thing. And I have memories that tell me this is going to carry on.
Yeah. When you said the mommy thing last week, first I had to swallow what I brought up. And then, it brought back some terrible memories. And when I sat down to watch this, and this was the first match, I was like, please no mommy, please. But then they showed the video package with him, like a fat Tobias Funke, lying there. I'm afraid I just blew myself.
I have to give you props for remembering the full name. I'm very impressed there.
It certainly wasn't, and I wish I had a $5 for every time I've referenced this match on this podcast, but Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio, SummerSlam 2002, and it just set the crowd electric. Imagine kicking off a pay-per-view with Goldust versus the Blue Meanie.
The only thing through the whole match that the crowd seemed to get really lively about was the idea of the Shattered Dreams booting the balls.
Kick a guy in the balls. And Goldust's giving it full, like, come on! Everybody should want me to kick this guy in the balls. This clearly mentally unstable gentleman.
At least, I don't think the actual match lasted too long, at least.
Nah. And that is a good thing about this era, is it, apart from Venis versus Shamrock, which seemed to go on for quite a significant length of time, it didn't go on for very long. And Goldust did give him a wedgie and smack him on the bum.
It did. I mean, you've said that like that's a big positive.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find good stuff.
I did have a bit of that match was first, and I've sat there, I've made my notes, and there was just a no type reaction.
Yeah. I think let's put off and watch someone else tonight. Go and sit and stare at a wall. The crazy thing is Goldust then goes from here to an intercontinental 4-way match at WrestleMania. Like, anybody watching this go, I need to see more of this. I mean, obviously Meanie's not in it, but...
I don't know if we'll find out how, but I'm pretty sure Blue Meanie's in his corner in that match.
Yeah, I think you're right, yeah.
Because that's where my mommy shouts,
yeah.
we're coming back to me.
I think Goldust ends up getting involved with Ryan Shamrock. How does Goldust get women?
They're just, fascinated, I think. What's going on there?
Just a little different, yeah. So yeah, a good way to kick off. If anyone thought about switching it off, they showed us Austin on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's funny to see what they showed us. Austin Michaels, who at this point in time was never on TV because his back was in disarray.
I don't think that was the only issue that was going on.
Well, they show us Austin Michaels and Vince on Sunday Night Heat, but that's crazy to think.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, and I think of Sunday Night Heat, I think of like S.A. Rios and Raven.
I was going to bring this up actually because there's a few mentions, and there'll be more as we watch WrestleMania, I'm sure, where Sunday Night Heat seems like a really big deal. And I remember I was away at college when this was all on, and I remember Sunday Night Heat was one of the few things that I actually had the ability to watch because I didn't have Sky when I was away. So I would watch it. But S.A. Rios was the exact wrestler that jumped into my mind.
Amazing.
Thinking Sunday Night Heat. But they did, when it was a pay-per-view week, they did used to kind of make something important happen relating to the pay-per-view, I think in the hope that it'll encourage people watching this free bit to go and buy the show.
So was it kind of like the pre-show type thing that they have these days?
Yeah, that's what they used it as, because I think it basically ended, the broadcast of it ended right at the point the pay-per-view was kicking off. Right. So they used it for, I think at times we'll hear them using it for things like qualifying matches, for things like that, for things that are going to happen on the pay-per-view and that kind of thing. But they're obviously just, I think, saying, look, here's some stars and famous people that you'll really want to watch.
They kind of went through a stage, it must be round about here, 99, 2000, where Sunday Night Heat was the time where they decided that the main event was going to be no DQ, no count out.
Yeah.
And just tell you that at the start of the pay-per-view.
That was another strange thing here, because they made it seem like it had only just been decided that there was going to be a steel cage match between Austin and Vince McMahon. But then, you've got to have the cage stuff with you. I mean, surely that was decided before we're seeing the little clip on Heat. But it sounded like it was only being explained to the audience that it was going to be a cage match, and that was maybe their first awareness of it. I would have thought you'd be selling the hell out of that through your weekly TV.
You'd be locked in the cage with me, there'd be no escape. And
yeah.
Aye. I'm sure it was in the video package.
And I do think they say at a later point when it was decided, but in this segment they indicated only just been agreed, which seemed odd.
Right. And they're doing the whole Austin can't touch McMahon. How many times do they do that? Like across Austin, especially with Austin. But Austin can't touch McMahon, otherwise he's fired and the match is off. His route to WrestleMania is gone, and Vince spits him in the face.
Never acceptable.
Despicable. That takes us to quite a random occurrence next, because I think they say that this, or either I read that this is the first time that the hardcore title had been contested for on a pay-per-view.
Okay.
So there's a bit of trivia for you. And it's been vacated by the Road Dogg because somebody attacked him. I don't think we're at 24/7 type shenanigans yet. Obviously somebody in creatives never managed to have that epiphany yet. But we do get a hardcore match for the vacant hardcore title between Al Snow and Bob, not Hardcore Holly, we're just Bob Holly here. And he's representing the Job Squad, which I thought was so random, and I don't remember him being... They were a kind of Sunday Night Heat type stable anyway.
They do reference that Al Snow and Bob Holly had been a tag team.
Oh, right.
And then after a defeat, Al Snow had turned on him. And Al Snow was always a Job Squad guy, wasn't he? So that's probably where that alliance for Bob Holly came from, I would think.
Okay. So, this was... What do you think our hardcore title match? I think if you're a paying customer, you'd be pretty pissed off with this match. I don't like these. Like, as soon as the weapons come out. And do you know, even when I was younger, I think because I had been made aware of ECW, I just didn't think these things really fit in WWE, and I felt like they did them badly. It's like a Poundland version of it.
Yeah, because you know what you're getting in ECW, and somehow it feels real. Everything's a bit gritty and grainy, and it just feels like that was the right environment, whereas it feels like they're playing at it when they do it in WWE. I didn't enjoy this. You've got like they end up, so they're in the parking lot, and so you've had your fire extinguisher moments and that kind of thing, and then backstage area, and then they're in the parking lot, and Al Snow's a bit nuts. He's like laughing as he's being hit with weapons, and I put in my notes, I remember a hardcore match where it ends in a river, but I thought Road Dogg was involved in that. Is this it?
Yeah, I thought the same.
Yeah, maybe it happens again.
Do you know what's funny is, I don't know if you ever see clips of Al Snow these days, but he's very much one of these podcasters and like guys that's got a YouTube show, and he like gets so wound up about like people not respecting the business and you know, like the lack of selling and things like that, and it's like you weren't Bret Hart, mate. Like you're walking about here hitting people with a mannequin head and having this sort of match, and it always strikes me as like quite bizarre.
I think the only thing I've seen Al Snow do, there was a Netflix thing where he was running
the OVW thing.
Yeah, and he was the head of creative, I think, and certainly in charge of putting everything together for the show. So I saw him in that, and obviously he's having to be pretty serious in that because he's in charge of the show. Didn't strike me as an obvious fit. Like I wouldn't have heard this was going on and thought, Al Snow. But you know, it's maybe a bit unfair on him because all I've ever really seen of him is a bit in ECW and a bit in WWE, where he was basically being a watered down version of ECW. But for a little bit though in ECW, there was something kind of cool about him, I think, from what I remember. Remember all the heads filling the ring? Yeah. That was one of the shows we watched, wasn't it? That was crazy. Like, fans were going absolutely mental for him. Yeah. But they fight down, like you were saying, they fight down the Mississippi River. Hardcore Holly's one of the guys. It's maybe just heard too many stories. I could never tell if it looks like he's pissed off, legitimately pissed off, if he's genuinely trying to hurt the person. Like, you can't pick up a random branch and smash it over somebody and there no be some sort of injury potential. At one point, I was going to bring this up with you because obviously we've no long watched the episodes of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and Bob Holly was there. Michael Cole claims that he's a welder by trade, and that certainly goes against everything I know, because I could have swore he was a former Hollywood heartthrob turned race car driver. But maybe when the money dries up, you just have to go and get yourself a sensible job. Maybe, yeah. They kept referencing him as Sparky Plug as well, which I never understand how that works kayfabe-wise as to who someone is. Yeah, that's a tricky one.
So we get both of them ending up in the river at various points. We get Al Snow wrapped up in like a chain link fence, which Holly seems to be having some issues rolling out, and he's swearing his head off. But yeah, he eventually wraps him up and gets Al pinned, and then him and Tim Wight, poor Tim Wight, have to jog to the ring from away. Yeah. That was poorly thought. I was kind of thinking, is somebody going to be there, hand him the belt? Surely.
I think I always assume, like, see when you get moments like this, like as soon as they've gone out of the building, I always assume we're cutting to tape now, and this has already been done before, and the guys are just waiting backstage, and they're going to come out. But nah, I'm pretty sure they actually went down to some riverbank. It seemed that way, because otherwise it was poorly thought out.
There's one where they're fighting on the road and all that. I wonder if that's one you're thinking it's. I'm sure that's SummerSlam 99. Okay. And there's 3 of them. Is it like Road Dogg, Bossman, and maybe Al Snow? They fight through a bar and everything.
Yeah. I mean, we'll if as long as we stick with it, we'll get to see that, and it'll be amazing.
We might get to see that. Yeah, I think it'll be. The thing is, with this thing, it doesn't need to be stop signs and jars of candy and all that sort of stuff, because Al Snow rattles him with a chair shot on the head, like seconds into the match. Mm-hmm. And I always reference this as well. Undertaker RVD have this hardcore title match. I can't remember when that was, 2004 maybe. Okay. And they just have I think the only thing that they maybe use is steel chairs, and it's round the arena and all that. Do you remember that?
I don't, actually. It's not ringing a bell.
There was a small period where Undertaker was hardcore champion, and like that was good. And I think I remember saying to you, I feel like that was the blueprint for what the hardcore title could have been. Like, it is quite funny, and there's comic relief, especially when like Gerald Briscoe's covering referees that are falling asleep and all that sort of nonsense, or whatever it was that happened. But it's not that much fun to watch right now.
Yeah. I think if you had like 10 minutes every couple of Monday Night Raws where something's happening with the hardcore title, people would accept that. But people have paid actual money for this.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're just watching the screen like everybody else. I think it's footage from Sunday Night Heat. We see Undertaker doing some sort of sermon with the rest of the ministry. Do you think it's funny always seeing Edge staying that massive smile?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really, I don't know, out of place. Like he's mocking the whole thing, but then that just kind of is sort of what Edge. It's like he's trapped between. He started off as the vampire character, but in his mind he's moved on. But they've said to him, "You're in the ministry now." But he's already moved on to pausing for the photography and stuff like that in his mind.
Yeah, the Lost Boys gimmick is already gone, but Gangrel's like holding on to it. So we see them. I wish we'd seen how the ministry got put together. I don't remember, because we got up to Survivor Series 98, and I don't remember ministry being a thing then, do you?
No.
So it must have been around about December time. I wonder what's happened in Undertaker's life that's meant that he's went in this direction.
Yeah.
If only he'd met Michelle McCool earlier, he could have been a YouTuber much earlier. Could have been his new gimmick.
Oh, wow.
So that brings us to the match that you spoke about, where it seems a really strange dynamic, heel versus heel, which is a really strange dynamic to put on any show, let alone pay-per-view. So it's a big boss man representing the corporation, and Midian clothed Midian representing the ministry. I forgot about the pickled eye thing that he had.
Me too.
Jerry
Lawler seems quite taken by it. He's really freaked out.
He was kind of guided by it, wasn't it? A bit of a fake urn type situation. Mm-hmm. He's not a good wrestler.
No.
Regardless of if he's throwing pig stuff everywhere or whatever. He's not really a great wrestler, is he?
I feel like, see, when he was one half of the Godwins, their whole gimmick meant that you could just be a brawler, and I think he kind of got away with that because they were, coming out in their overalls, ridiculously over the top pig farmers, and brawling kind of fit that whole thing.
Aye.
And yeah, I'm not saying I expect somebody who has been brought into an army of darkness to be wrestling like Bret Hart or anything that. But I don't know. It's just I just don't really get what he brings.
I said to you on text, I feel like young Seth Rollins must be watching this match, and he took Midian's hair and Big Boss Man's clothes and was like, if I ever get on TV, that's what I'm going to do. But apart from that, there's not much else to take from this match at all. As we said at the Royal Rumble, I quite enjoyed, really against anything inside of me, I quite enjoyed Big Boss Man in the ring.
Well, did you notice? He hit the sidewalk slam out of nowhere again.
Ah, beautiful.
You were right what you said about the RKO. This was that era's RKO out of nowhere.
And some of the stuff he was doing, where remember he used to slip under it, and I maybe reference that every time, but he was moving pretty agile in the ring.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a weird. Did you think that they were both heels? Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah. I think it's an awkward situation because they've clearly decided that these two groups would oppose each other, but at that level, or at the top level, Austin's the only babyface, and none of this. Maybe you could say Mankind, maybe, but none of this is about Austin. It certainly doesn't seem to be, and obviously they can do the whole "it's for control" over WWE, but it's not.
They weren't really presenting it that way or anything, though, were they?
And it just seemed like every few weeks Undertaker was going to bring somebody else in and turn them or mind control them or whatever it was he was doing. But it's really hard to see what the end game's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a strange one. And then we get the Ministry doing their thing where they just sort of attack the guy, and Undertaker makes his way out, and the Ministry carry Boss Man back down the aisle. Did you notice Christian? He was I think he basically had Boss Man's foot. It was almost like, I'm supposed to be here helping, but there's not really much I can do. It's a bit like somebody helping you lift something, and somebody else is like, oh, I'll help, but they're not really needed.
Brilliant.
I was kind of thinking, where's Test and anybody from the corporation?
Like at the Rumble, they all seem to be this group that we're all in it together, and now Boss Man's just been hung out to dry.
Brutal. I take it Phineas was the one that would spit up in the air and catch it, because surely that could have been part of Midian's gimmick.
It must have been.
Do you remember him doing that?
Like that? I do.
He could have done that with the eye.
Yeah.
But instead he just decided to go fully naked.
Well, I mean, if those are your two options.
Once you've been terrorised by the Undertaker, there's no other option. That's what Sarah said, anyway. Right, what we got here. Kevin Kelly, who's featured a few times backstage, who just seems to have stole a living through the WWF throughout, the late 90s. Didn't really do very much, but...
Do you know, sorry to interject.
No.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and it was JBL answering some questions about what he thought were the biggest misses that WCW made during the Attitude Era. And he said letting JR leave came back to bite them, although, that had happened earlier, came back to bite them because, can you imagine the WWE Attitude Era if it wasn't JR that was doing the announcing? And the question was posed, who would it have been? And I could tell he was trying to be so nice about Kevin Kelly, but he was like, I guess it would have had to be Kevin Kelly. And I can't imagine it. Like, imagine him being the voice of Raw for, what was its most popular period.
No, just lacking sort of that iconic personality. Like, it couldn't even have been, because I think you would have said that Vince would have probably taken the reins, but he was obviously involved after Montreal.
He needed to be a character, and I think Michael Cole was maybe employed, but very much just used as a backstage interviewer. And Kevin Kelly, I think, was ahead of him in the pecking. I think Kevin Kelly was doing some of the shows, like some of the not as high-profile shows. Yeah, should have looked and sounded a whole lot different. It did.
Talking of which, we spoke last time that I thought that I'd read that JR was on the headset with Michael Cole, working backstage, sort of coaching him through the commentary. And there was a number of times during this I thought, I can basically hear JR through Michael Cole. I think he referred to Shamrock's catch as catch can style. I thought that's JR.
Yeah.
And he also repeated he's broken in half thing about Mankind as well. And I thought,
he did. Yeah.
That's a poor choice for Michael Cole, even if it was JR that told him to say it, because it just doesn't work the same.
No, it does have JR's fingerprints all over it.
What I was going to say here was we're backstage with D'Lo Brown, a new character, Ivory, and Mark Henry. And I thought D'Lo, I don't remember D'Lo cutting promos. I thought he cut a great promo.
He did. And really, I like D'Lo. He seemed a good worker. There was some, when he walked down with the head bobble and all that. And I even quite liked remember for ages he wore like a chest protector thing, and he was always selling that I still got a problem under there. I think there were a couple of times where the babyface commentator yelled out, he can't still be injured from this, but he was still milking it for everything it's worth. And I get he would have been, lost a bit in the shuffle when The Rock broke out to be a singles star. But I feel watching it like he could have got a wee bit more of a push than he got.
Yeah, I wonder at what point we are as far as draws, and I wonder how much draws derailed him.
Yeah,
mentally,
and
also backstage.
I think he's talked about it. He basically never wanted to do an offensive move on someone again after it happened, which you can totally understand.
100%.
Yeah.
So that takes us to our tag team match for the tag team titles. The champions, Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart. Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart with Deborah against Sexual Chocolate, Mark Henry, and D'Lo Brown with Ivory.
I was just thinking there, the way when you said Jeff Hart. I mean, Jeff Jarrett has tried to shoehorn himself into almost every faction that's ever existed, giving him the honour of being one of the Harts now. He'll milk that for years.
Yeah. They actually reference Jeff and Owen as both second-generation stars. Did Stu Hart wrestle in the WWF?
I don't know. He obviously was a wrestler, but I don't know if he wrestled in the WWF. I'm not sure.
Or is it just so second generation just refers to their dad was a wrestler?
Yeah,
or mum. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a couple of things I want to highlight, and then I'll let you talk about the match, because this is the start of when King was starting to really get on my nerves. This match, because he's making it like Ivory's the most beautiful woman that's ever been seen, and then you know what it's like with Deborah. He says that Mark Henry just exudes sexuality as he's walking the ring, which, fair enough, was quite funny. It's quite a funny line. And then Michael Cole says Mark Henry is just childlike when it comes to women. What does that mean?
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that. That's actually one of the most disturbing things I've ever I hope JR didn't feed him that line.
Well, we know what JR's Twitter likes were like back in the day, so yeah, those were weird. King, like I say, King was starting to do my head in, and it just carries on into the Ryan Shamrock thing. It's like a giddy prepubescent or pubescent boy that's never seen a naked woman before. Yeah. And I know that's his thing, but you just forget how intense it was.
Do you know what makes me more uncomfortable with it now than I would have been then? Is knowing a wee bit more about the background of there's actually, I've got in my notes, there's a sign up. I think are we in Tennessee here?
Memphis, they keep saying so. Tennessee.
Yeah. There's a sign that says Lawler for mayor, and I've got in my notes, isn't he a bit of a sex offender? Oh, that doesn't matter right enough. I see you, Donald Trump. But like, I think at the time I heard it. Now, bear in mind, when this is all going on my TV, I'm 18. And I'm quite an immature 18-year-old. I'm quite an immature 45-year-old. But, you hear things at that time and you're kind of laughing away at them. Now, knowing a wee bit more about his background, his history, a bit more uncomfortable, but also, like you say, it's just non-stop. It's not one throwaway comment and then you move on with the rest of your life. It's non-stop. But I also imagine he's probably done it and Vince has been like, more of that. I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh.
He keeps saying, I was going to say in quite a sinister way, I'm playing that up. He keeps saying something and it becomes less and less of a joke. I want to see something, he keeps saying, when it comes to Deborah. Because Ivory said that if Deborah gets involved, she'll tear her clothes off. But one of the times he just says, I want to see something, like in a kind of like gritting his teeth.
Oh,
imagine Michael Cole looking at him like, but yeah. What do you think of the wrestling of this match?
I quite like Owen and Jeff Jarrett as a tag. I think they're quite smooth. They flow quite well together. They do quite a few of the sort of underhanded, subtle heel tag team moves that are missing. You don't get that a lot in this era. And they feel to me, I know they're two single stars, but they do feel to me like they're a real proper tag team, which I liked and I enjoyed. So they gave me some of the bits and pieces of wrestling that I enjoyed in this card. There was an awful lot going on, not just with the announcing, but with, outside of the ring shenanigans. And I just found myself wishing that I could just watch an Owen and Jeff against another decent tag team match.
Yeah. I hear you. I like D'Lo. I think D'Lo's a good wrestler.
I do like D'Lo. Yeah.
And there's some things that he does. I think Jeff Jarrett, I agree with you. I think he's at his best as a tag team wrestler, probably with Owen. There is something just about them that just flows, and they're in and out, back and forward, double teaming and stuff like that. And like you say, the underhand heel stuff. I never thought that Owen fitted with Deborah, but he almost like was kind of like in his own lane with that stuff. Yeah. So yeah. I agree with that.
I remember hearing a story that they wanted Owen to storyline, I think, steal Deborah away from Jeff, and he just wouldn't do it. He had no interest in doing it. Yeah. But yeah, I think if you remove Deborah, you could have leaned into so many other aspects within this team, because I think you could have done a whole jealousy that wasn't about a woman angle in there, because I could see Jeff getting really frustrated if Owen started getting all the plaudits and things like that, and vice versa. It could have gone either way.
Yeah, definitely. Somebody talking about he's the danger and he's such a good technical wrestler or something like that. What about me?
Just a post-match interview. You carried your team through that. What?
Yeah, I don't think they never went to a point of wrestling each other or anything, did they?
No, I think I don't know if it was ever planned, but obviously they're going to break off into Win. I think he continues doing tag matches, but also does the Blue Blazer stuff. And then obviously we're not going to be too far away from his death. So I think they were still a team at that point in time.
Right. That's crazy. I don't remember that. They keep referring to some woman called Sammy. Do you know who that is?
No.
No, I didn't either.
Nah, didn't mean anything to me.
Okay. Things break down as you would expect. We get Deborah getting involved on the apron, which brings in Ivory. D'Lo Brown becomes the the official between those two, try to keep them apart, which allows our tag team champions to smash up the guitar. I think it's Owen smashed the guitar over Mark Henry's knee, who would have been stablemates in the Nation, right? And D'Lo, I suppose.
Yeah.
So they smash the guitar over the knee. Jeff puts on the figure four, and the world's strongest man taps out.
Mm.
And Jeff and Owen retain. Do you remember, did Jeff and Owen go on to WrestleMania as tag champions? I can't remember a tag.
I think they do. And I think, like, I've got this in my head, but I think that it's like a thrown together team that they go up against.
Shocking.
Like, I think we've seen enough just through these shows to know that tag teams were not a priority here.
Mm. Yeah, Outlaws are separate. Bossman's wrestling on WrestleMania against Undertaker. So I kind of think either. Okay, Kevin Kelly with Mankind. Mankind cut quite a humorous promo about. He says something like, I'm going to get real ugly, if you can believe that, or something like that. He says, looking at Kevin Kelly. Quite good, but they show that The Rock had jumped him on Sunday Night Heat, and they hit him with a fire extinguisher in the knee or something like that. Yeah. So we've got a little bit of an injury going into their title match.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next match is for the Intercontinental title. It's Shamrock, the champion, taking on Val Venis with a highly entertaining special guest ref, Billy Ass, who's very much on form in this match, I have to say.
I think this is him in his element. This is like, he's not having to take a bump, he's not having to do too much physical exertion, he's hamming it up to the crowd and absolutely loving life.
He's having a great time.
They gave a wee indication of a story of Earl Hebner has washed his hands of this. It's getting too violent and aggressive between these two. He doesn't want himself or any proper officials taking charge of this match. So step up, Mr. Ass.
Is that what it was? Right, okay. Mm-hmm. We get quite a class video package before this match, and the basic premise of where this beef has come from is that Val Venis is trying to coerce Shamrock's sister, Ryan Shamrock, into being in one of his movies. And I believe the movie was called Saving Ryan's Privates. That they showed on Raw, or they showed bits of on Raw. Val Venis. Obviously, like the guy Sean Morley seems to become a bit of a nutter and all that sort of stuff. So sometimes it's hard to think, like, to just enjoy this, but his character is absolutely ridiculous in all the best ways.
It is. It's over the top. It's entertaining. He leans fully into it. I mean, he is fully committed to this. I believe by many, he was quite a highly thought of worker, and they've just, stumbled upon this thing that, he's going to be a porn star. The crowd reactions are pretty impressive for him. I mean, this is peak 1999. They want one of the guys on the show to be a porn star.
Yeah, 100%.
And because he's quite a good worker, I feel like this would really annoy me as a gimmick if it was all about the porn star element, but he's in there, he's doing some moves, he's clearly got something about him in the ring. So I find it entertaining enough. Yeah. But like you said, I do think Billy Gunn kind of steals the spotlight in this.
He's no favouring either one. He clearly has disdain for both of them, and he's just like sort of. I was kind of thinking to myself, this is going to go on all night because he's never going to count anyone out because he's doing these slow counts, not really checking for submissions.
Yeah, I don't think I would be winding up, especially Shamrock, the way that Billy Gunn seems happy to do at times in this match.
No, we said that last time as well. Like it looked like they worked quite a stiff style at the Royal Rumble, and I felt the same with Val Venis here.
Yeah.
It just seems a bit of a career suicide type thing, or a life suicide type thing.
Yeah.
I've got in my notes, King's going on and on about Ryan Shamrock. She's 21 years old. Relax. But Val Venis pretty much dominates this match, which is quite surprising. He takes charge and he's all over Shamrock. This is the infamous match where Shamrock says to Ryan, "Slap me on the outside."
Yes. So I was just curious. I looked it up what age Jerry Lawler would have been here. So he's 49.
Fucking hell.
It's really not much older than this.
I thought you were going to say younger.
No, but I mean the fact that Ryan Shamrock's 21, that he's 49, and the way he's behaving, it's disturbing.
Just stop it. I'd said to you, I read a bit of Shamrock's book last night. I specifically looked for 1999 to see what he was saying about this era, because he's no much longer in at all. I think he maybe does WrestleMania, and that might be him. Okay. He goes off to fight Tito Ortiz not that long after then. They wanted him to do an on-screen incestuous relationship with Ryan Shamrock, which he knocked back because his son is called Ryan Shamrock, which, I mean, fair enough. But he also said that he didn't want his son seeing him doing that on screen, but then goes into detail about having an affair with her on the road.
Was Ryan her real name? I'm hoping not.
No.
I'm guessing Shamrock wasn't her real name, but yeah, just hoping the whole thing was made up.
So it did feel like quite a long match, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's moments when you're talking Billy Gunn, because some of the wrestling in this is quite good. I mean, Ken Shamrock can work. He's terrifying in the way that he does it because you believe everything he's doing would hurt. Val Venis can work, and he's pretty good at selling as well, which he's doing a fair amount of against Shamrock. But you get it's moments that break you out of the seriousness of the match with Billy Gunn, because I think Val Venis has got Shamrock in some sort of submission hold, and he's like, ask him, and Billy Gunn's like, ask him what?
That's good, that's class. Completely unserious the whole time. Until I think it is it Shamrock pushes him? Yeah, I think he gets involved when him and his sister are arguing on the outside. He gets Billy comes out to sort of get involved, and Billy Gunn hits him back, rolls him in the ring, and Val rolls him up, and Billy just counts the fastest count you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah,
and that leads to Shamrock and Billy Gunn fighting down the aisle. And I was thinking to myself, and Shamrock references this in his book as well, it is a shame, whatever it is that happened with Billy Gunn, that by the time we get to WrestleMania, he's in the hardcore stuff and Road Dogs and the Intercontinental thing, because I feel like they've actually built this. These three, I don't know where Goldust comes into it, but these three feels like they've built this pretty well, and Shamrock and Billy Gunn had a really good match at the Rumble.
It did make me wonder, could it have been like a punishment for something?
I think I think he misbehaved. Something I'd read before was that he was telling people that he was the match that he was in WrestleMania, but the way that Shamrock had said it in his book, it was like bad behaviour. He'd done something unprofessional, I think it says.
Yeah.
So there we go. So is that Val Venis? Val Venis wins the Intercontinental title.
Val Venis wins, and then you're breaking off what looks like you're going to be going into a program with Shamrock and Billy Gunn. But yeah, I found the whole thing fairly entertaining, actually.
Nice. Is this a highlight of the show for you so far?
So far, yeah.
Okay.
Not got that much competition so far, to be fair.
No. So next we have another tag team match. We've got Triple H and X-Pac, who are still in the DX stable with Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, versus Kane and Chyna, who are representing the corporation. We get a video package on Chyna. Stop it. Chyna. I hate her. I can't stand her voice. Why'd they give her microphone time? Do you know what I always think now? As I think of Chyna asking for the same money as Austin. And I kind of get that out of my head, I think. And I also think the amount of politicking that Triple H is doing backstage to get her into these situations that she's in as well. And that's something else that Shamrock mentioned, was that he turned down the Ryan Shamrock thing. And then the next thing they offered him was to be fighting Chyna and her go over on him. And he turned that down because he didn't want his son seeing him hitting a woman on the TV. Which is, fair enough. And he thinks that that's how he basically, they basically just, I think, he ends up with Steve Blackman after that, doesn't he? In a program with Steve Blackman.
I'd always assumed Shamrock left because he wanted to leave. But I suppose, even if that was the case, if they'd maybe given him something more, he might have felt an incentive to stay. Yeah,
it sounds like he thought that he should be going up the way towards Austin. And he felt like he acknowledged in that book there that he turned down things and therefore that's what's probably went against him.
Yeah.
So that's nonsense about WrestleMania being his last, because he definitely fights Blackman in what was the Lion's Den match they have, isn't it?
Right, okay.
But he felt that was a demotion because he said that he felt that Triple H's politicking had went against him because he'd refused to put over Chyna.
That's totally believable. Yeah.
So I see this stuff totally different now. I hate seeing Triple H. I used to love Triple H. I just hate seeing him now. How do you feel about him?
It doesn't bother me. I mean, as a performer. So here, and I think for the next couple of months, he feels like he's mid-card talent, I think, and I'm absolutely fine with him being there. I think the bigger issue I had with him was when he was, world champion for 10 years and in every main event for a very long time. So that's a wee bit beyond this era here. I think I can understand why a person would try everything they could to get themselves in a lofty position. Because I think that's, especially if you're in a competitive industry, I think that's what I would expect a lot of people to do. And I imagine a lot of people have tried it, just not successfully.
Yeah. That's a very fair take. I always think with a lot of these guys, I can remember seeing a shoot interview that the Outlaws did, and they're clearly off their head. And Michael's behaviour, he rests a lot of that on drugs and substance. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and I always just think Triple H doesn't have that excuse. He's just like a bastard.
I think, I assume he can't have all along had the plan to marry the boss's daughter, because that would seem weird if he always had that plan. But I think, the ability to, even in a sort of parasite type way, to last in a business like that forever, it's quite incredible, actually.
It comes across a little bit Littlefinger. doesn't it? It's not been found out yet. If Littlefinger managed to get himself on the throne, that's what we're looking at here.
I think there are some, if a Triple H is stomping on some already fairly established guys to get what he wants, I can completely understand that. I think the ones that I've felt worse about, that I've heard about, are like the stories about him and Michaels standing there talking to Vince when somebody's on having their first match and being like, he ain't got it. And they're like, come on, give the guy a chance.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's continue to trash Triple H as we talk through this match. I remember for the millions in attendance or the thousands in attendance people, let's get ready to suck. It doesn't make sense. I know it's like a piss take of Michael Buffer from WCW, but it doesn't make sense, does it? Let's get ready to suck it.
I didn't. I think I mentioned this on an earlier episode we did. I didn't know that it was a piss take of Michael Buffer, because for so long we got we always got the Nitros, but I don't think we got pay-per-views for WCW. Right. And I just wasn't used to seeing Michael Buffer, because I think he was more often than not brought out for the pay-per-views or the big, Nitros. So when this became a thing, I had no idea it was based on anything. I just thought, and when you say the words, you're like, what does that mean? What are they going for there? But, I always think as well, the crowd are with it, don't get me wrong.
Oh, 100%.
They're chanting along to it. But I do remember hearing, and again, they were drugged up and it was a shoot interview. I do remember hearing Road Dogg and Billy Gunn saying they needed them, like the DX guys needed them because they were over. They were massively over on their own. And I did, when you listen, I think at times the pop for Road Dogg's bit is bigger than the pop for Triple H's bit. It's not, to say they were bigger stars, but I wonder, because I think the Outlaws became associated with Triple H and Michaels without ever being in the DX, but they were brought in fully when X-Pac came in. But I did think with that, if you want a Triple H trash a little bit, they've seen something they like that's getting over and been like, bring that to us. Let's all do this.
Yep. We were talking about that, I remember, because we were loving Outlaws in 98 and they weren't affiliated with DX. No. And then by the time D-Generation X In Your House comes around, they're kind of in a like a 8-man tag match or something like that. And it's at that point you start seeing them pull them in, and then by the night after WrestleMania 14, they're fully in. I 100% agree with you. They've said they're getting hot. He's said they're getting hot. Let's have some of that.
Yeah.
And while Triple H is doing the let's get ready to suck it thing, X-Pac is standing there, his tongue hanging out, his eyes going in different directions like that hyena Eddie in The Lion King. I think Kane is great in this match. He's like MVP of this match, I think. Kane and X-Pac. I was kind of thinking I would have enjoyed if this was just Kane and X-Pac, I think.
Yeah. That does happen at a point, doesn't it? Then they become a tag team.
Yep.
Yeah, somewhere down the line they become a team.
What do you think of it?
I quite enjoyed the Kane stuff. So, for storyline, basically Kane is being forced to align with the corporation. Otherwise, he's going to be taken away to the asylum, which, Kane's just doing what he's got to do to stay out of that kind of trouble. And he's playing like proper unbeatable monster.
100%. He just keeps landing on his feet regardless of what they do to him.
Yeah. And I have a feeling this maybe carries through. I think he's... Because I think at WrestleMania, it's him against Triple H, and I think it's pretty similar. But yeah, I think... like you say, the Kane and X-Pac stuff, it works because X-Pac can sell the hell out of everything that Kane's doing. And you look at the size difference of the two, and you're just waiting for that guy to be killed. It looks that brutal. So yeah, I definitely could have done without Chyna being in the match.
Do you see what I was being about her selling?
Yeah.
It's shite. something that gave me a chuckle was Shane McMahon on commentary saying that his dad's geared up for the main event, which couldn't be further. Yeah, well, was a very true statement indeed.
Yeah.
Very geared up indeed. But Shane was becoming quite annoying on commentary, giving it the hey man, and giving it all the cool kid behaviour. But X-Pac smashed him, which was quite entertaining.
And to be fair about this whole thing, the crowd were hot for it. They were reacting to a hell of a lot that was going on there. And I suppose they've maybe not had a huge amount to go on earlier in the card, but they're fully warmed up here.
Do you think they were really into this? Aye.
I thought so, yeah.
Aye. I only watched it yesterday, but I genuinely can't remember. I think that's maybe just seething with China hate. Like, I don't know why I always need to have somebody that I need to hate on, but that's just where we are.
There were quite a lot of reactions as X-Pac and Triple H made their comebacks.
Right.
The crowd were getting hot for those.
I wonder at what point it changed in the X-Pac heat type stuff. I wonder where that changed. Probably when he aligned himself with Albert and Just Incredible, perhaps.
Oh, I forgot all about that.
X Factor. Uncle Cookie. Was that his name? Uncle Cracker. On the old...
if only it had been Uncle Cookie.
Uncle Cookie. You ditched Jim Johnson for Uncle Cracker. You're asking for X-Pac heat. So we get to finish on this one because X-Pac races away after Shane McMahon, which definitely gives credence to the sort of hyena-esque behaviour X-Pac. And Triple H is left with China and Kane on his own. And Kane hits the choke slam. I think Triple H is going for the pedigree on China, and he hits the choke slam on Triple H and gets the win. And Kane basically drags China back out the ring with him.
Yeah.
Fair play to Kane. He's always the MVP of things, isn't he? Just think of him in Royal Rumbles, just like lasting for 6 hours and stuff.
He's actually a very good big man, because he can move, right? And I think we talked a lot, particularly when we were doing our Lucha Underground stuff, about selling emotion when you're wearing a mask. And he was pretty good at selling emotion, because you know, as you're in this, that maybe Kane doesn't want to be doing what he's doing, but he's got to fend off the guys with the white coats. So, yeah.
Putting up with China screaming, just tag me, that bullshit. So that leads us to our title match, which is a last man standing match. And I think I read that this is the first ever last man standing match on a WWF pay-per-view.
Really? I had some issues with this.
Go on.
So the premise of this match, right? You have to disable your opponent from being able to answer the 10 count. It's a 10 count by the referee. But you know how you talk about how hard it is when you keep upping the stakes to try and, you've just done this. So what are you going to do to get their attention now? There was no way that you were going to be able to outdo in terms of brutality what happened in the I Quit match.
No, I'm with you 100%. They've built it far too high. Like you say, there's no way, and I think the fans would be expecting something worse.
Yeah.
They've done the Royal Rumble spot, and they've not been able to make him quit. They've done the halftime heat match where Mankind rolls down about 40, 60 stairs or something like that in a football stadium. There's literally nothing they could do in this match that could top basically the Royal Rumble and the sort of shocking nature of what they did at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So this feels a bit flat.
Yeah.
The worst thing I think, which is pretty awful, but I think the worst thing they do is when Foley's lying outside the ring and The Rock throws the stairs just down onto him.
Yeah. And there's some moments in it, like there's I think Mankind DDT's Rock on a table, And it's stuff that you would have been like, oh, but because of what you've already seen, it doesn't get that reaction, which is a shame. But that's what you get when you push things far too far.
Yeah, we sound really old right now, but yeah, but you're right, 100% right, and this is, it's like the modern thing of kicking out everybody's finisher 100 times. There's no like point in a finishing move. Like there's some entertaining stuff. We get what feels like a bit of a callback to the I Quit match with The Rock. He's like singing the SmackDown Hotel Elvis song to him, and Mankind shoves his Socko down his throat, which must be a pretty new thing.
Yeah,
Socko?
I think it was. Yeah, from the reaction of the announcers as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it seemed new. I like that. That was a kind of light relief, but then a bit of logic applied into it. Like, what would Mankind do? Of course, that's what he would do. His mouth's wide open. Yeah.
That spot that you talked about, the DDT, was a really brutal spot.
Mm-hmm.
The table just completely collapses.
It was another thing that I found a wee bit brutal, but it's maybe because since this show was actually on, I have read books and things like that. Mankind, he comes off I think it's the ring apron with a elbow drop onto Rock, who's on the announce desk. And I know that Mankind's hips are totally gone. And he's like, so he used to do elbow drops off the apron in WCW a lot, especially with Vader.
And it was concrete.
Yeah.
Was it Bill Watts wanted made them remove the mats or something like that?
And it's just sort of that bit more awareness I had. I'm watching a move like that, being like,
it's cringing. Yep.
Protect yourself, man.
I can't believe the finish that they did to this match, where the face is champion, and you do a finish where it's a double count out, and nobody wins, and the face retains, and the crowd are chanting bullshit.
Yeah.
If The Rock had been champion, 100% do that finish.
Yes.
That makes sense, because he's sort of another way of weaseling his way out of losing the title to Mankind. But for Foley to keep the title like that, and then them do a ladder match the following night on Raw, and Rock win it?
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah. I couldn't understand the finish for exactly the reasons you've said. If it's the other way around, it makes sense. It's a cheap way for your, valiant hero against all the odds to retain. I was a wee bit caught out because I'm watching this and I'm thinking, but Rock must win.
Aye.
Just because I know what's coming. But I suppose these two exchanged the title with each other several times over this short space of a couple of months.
Yeah, it's bizarre. And the big thing that I took away from it is the exact point that you made, is that they're in a hiding at nothing here. There's nothing they could do. They should have probably done some sort of stipulation which meant they couldn't leave the ring or something. But even if they'd done a cage match, people would have been expecting Foley to come off it.
That's the problem. Yeah. I mean, I never would want to see again what happened in the Rumble match. But if that had been your finale, and that's your brutal end point, The Rock walks away as champion, and that Mankind's been screwed, but Rock's champion, so deal with it, and he heads off on his way to WrestleMania. It just felt like they were the wrong way positioned, these matches.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so like I say, they do the ladder match the following night on Raw, and Rock wins the title back, and that's him off to WrestleMania, because you would come away with this pay-per-view thinking it's Austin Mankind at WrestleMania. Yeah.
They did do a very good job at coordinating their chair shots on each other.
They did.
It was pretty much perfectly timed.
That was good.
Wouldn't have blamed Mankind if he'd just left a wee bit on.
Yeah, 100%. I wonder, because we've heard this stuff about Mankind wanting to one up things in the past, and I just wonder what was considered for this match and what was ruled out.
Yeah. I've never, he used to do, it was quite an interesting podcast, but I don't remember him speaking about this match. Obviously, there was a lot of focus on the one at the Rumble rather than this one. I just remember him talking about his disappointment when he found out he wasn't going to be in the main event.
No wonder, given what he's put up with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, main event time then. We get the rarely seen black steel cage.
Mm-hmm.
Don't recall ever seen that before. We're getting Austin McMahon finally in a match. Don't think they've had one.
Not a proper one-on-one, no.
Have we had Austin with his hands tied behind his back
I think we
on a
have,
Raw?
Yeah, I think that was on a Raw. And then obviously they had a lot of interaction with each other at the Rumble. But yeah, I was trying to get my head round, because they were doing little snippets to try and explain it. So McMahon won the Rumble, which makes him number one contender. And the story seemed to be that he had forfeited his opportunity. But then Michaels just named Austin.
Michaels just gave it to Austin.
Place.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Austin said, "Nah, I'll put that up if you'll wrestle me." Very convoluted.
Yeah, it was a bit. I mean, I understand for the entertainment point of view why they did what they did at the Rumble, but with where they've gone through here, they probably could have just had Austin win the Rumble.
Yeah. Or have Vince win it and Austin say, "I'll fight, I don't know, career versus your WrestleMania
I'll
spot."
Challenge you. Yeah, put something up for grabs, something at stake. But yeah, I mean, there is something at stake in the match. It just feels like an odd way to get there.
And for some reason, we've got Vince guaranteeing that there'll be no members of the corporation at ringside, which he stayed true to as part of this. So yeah, this is the match that I remember from this show. Mm-hmm. Everything else has been filtered out of my wrestling mind, but this match 100% remember watching. Remember the bump. I don't think anybody that's seen this would have forgotten the bump. I didn't remember much else the match. Obviously the finish is class, but what do you make of the match as a whole?
I thought for the story it was telling, I found it entertaining enough. I think there were bits of it that made sense. So there's several times in this match that Austin has the match won. As you would expect, he's in there with Vince, he's kicking his ass. But Vince keeps goading him to coming back for more. So he's like giving him the fingers, he's, talking trash to him, all that. And Austin, after it seems like he's done with him, and he's like, I'm just going to go and win the match now, he just keeps getting dragged back in because he can't overcome his hatred of Vince and wanting to just punish him that bit more. And it's intelligent from a Vince point of view, and in hindsight should make you think he's got some kind of plan on the go here. And from Austin's point of view, I feel like sometimes in these situations you make the person look a bit stupid, but I don't think you do with Austin here, because they've built this up for so long and you can see why he despises him and wants to destroy him. And he also, I think they do quite a good job of selling that for so much of this match, there's really no jeopardy for Austin. He has it so comfortably in hand that why wouldn't he go back and just punish him a wee bit more before he tries to take his win? I see the bump that Vince takes. So they're on the outside of the cage, and Austin, I think, smacks him off the cage, and Vince comes off and goes through the announce table. I remembered it. He looked kind of scarily out of control as he propelled himself off the cage.
I think there's a sort of uncoordinatedness to a lot of the stuff that Vince does. Yeah. Even him just climbing the cage, I was like, oh no, I don't like that. Yeah. Because he does seem out of control, so and I agree with that as well.
Yeah. Like when you see guys like, we've seen Mankind come off the cage, and maybe not so much when he went through it, but he looked like he had an element of control.
Yeah. There's like there's an almost sort of beautiful smoothness
like
to the
I
way that
know
he's
how I
flying
need
through
to
there.
land,
Aye.
so I need to position myself in that way. That didn't seem to be there with it.
Oh, horrendous. So he lands right on the corner of the table and bounces upwards, completely defying gravity. I think I heard he broke his pelvis. I don't know if that's true, because he's back. He's obviously on TV for WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I'd Googled that to see if that was true, but I did read that.
This isn't the point where he ends, because he's in a wheelchair for a period of time. This isn't that point. Got memories of him being wheeled around.
Me too, aye.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what we get.
But yeah, he bounces up and then the table completely collapses, and the guy on the Spanish announce table, who has not taken a bump, seems to be selling it more than what's his name again? Hugo something or other.
Hugo Savinovich, is it?
Yeah, he's like fully selling that something horrendous has happened to him. He really just fell out of his seat.
Yeah.
I wonder. I'd love to know the damage done to him for that.
Even if it wasn't the pelvis, it must have been. You're not walking away fine from that.
Definitely no. That did not go the way that it was supposed to go. And they always said that Vince would never ask anyone to do something. What am I trying to say? He would never ask anyone to do something that he wouldn't do himself.
Yes.
And there you have the proof in the pudding right there.
Crazy old bastard.
There's something about what you're saying about Austin that could come across really contrived with I'm going to go back in. But it feels like Austin's smiling so much of this match, which I love, because again, it's not like pantomime, look at me, I'm having a good time. Like, he's just grinning to himself. He throws him across the commentary table at one point, and he's like wide-eyed grinning. But with Austin, it feels like, are we going to go back in? Let's go and do it again, and the fans are all with him.
Because I think they always talked about the Austin Vince story as, what guy doesn't want to kick his boss's ass? And there's your guy, he's doing it for you because you can't. So he's doing it, and you get to be part of that. And it felt very much like we were getting to be part of that.
100%. And fair play, even I think third or fourth time Austin comes back, Vince gets a nut shot on him and manages to get a little bit of offense back in.
Yep.
I watched this with headphones on, and I wondered if you were just watching it on telly.
I was.
Okay, with headphones on, I could just hear Austin talking the whole match. So could you?
Bits and pieces, but maybe not as clear and as loud as what you could hear.
It was mental. It's almost like a bass, like a bass humming along. I don't know if it, like, with Austin, you can just say he's talking trash very easy, but he's obviously talking Vince through the match.
Yeah.
What do you think of our finish now in 2025? So,
well, we get our big. So there's a big stunner, I think, by Austin, and then just that. You've, as the audience member, you're watching that. Right, that's it. We're definitely done now. And then you see this figure tearing through the floor of the ring, and quite quickly Michael Cole is very enthusiastically shouting, "That's Paul Wight." And I think most people would have at least watched a bit of both WCW and WWE. Paul Wight was the Giant in WCW, and they very quickly made a big deal out of him. Like, he was, I think, opposing Hogan and then aligned with the NWO. I think he was one of the first big acquisitions by the NWO. Right. So he's a big star, and he is massive. He is absolutely huge. He's ridiculously big. When I watched this for the time it was actually on, I think I was quite shocked, because I don't think I had any awareness that he'd left WCW. I was like, oh, and that's one of those good moments, because it gets you. You're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. And I actually thought, like, still watching this, and thought at the time that the way the finish happens is quite clever. So, because you've got the Paul Wight reveal, and he is just destroying Austin on Vince's command. He is chucking him into the cell, just like Austin had done to Vince several times through the match. And to kind of get out of it, storyline-wise, the way they do, by Paul Wight throwing Austin to the point that he is propelled pretty high up on the cell, and then the cell just swings open. And so Austin, all he has to do is drop to his feet and he's won the match. I thought it was a clever way of doing it, because you're not doing anything to dilute the impact of Paul Wight. He's come in, he's chucked Austin around, and if anything, been too forceful with what he's been doing with him. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it's a clever finish. Obviously, it's not the same when you know exactly what's going to happen, which I did this time. But I did enjoy it when I first watched it. I thought it was clever. What about you?
Yeah, I had no idea who Paul Wight was.
Okay.
I'd never seen him in WCW at the point of seeing it. I remember thinking that is easily the biggest man I've ever seen. I remember thinking because he cradles Austin like a baby to throw him in the cage. I remember thinking he's going to be champion forever. Like nobody's going to be able to beat him. And then you think of how it pans out, of how, he goes from, why did they not have just called him the Giant?
Yeah.
Like, I take it WCW would own that name,
Probably.
I guess.
I imagine they didn't want to get anywhere near, because I can't think, so here he's Paul Wight, and they're not calling him anything other than Paul Wight. I'm curious to see what they're calling him at WrestleMania. Is he already the Big Show by that
sure
point?
He's the Big Show Paul Wight for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, I suppose I just see that it's a shame of where he went.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like by the time that they decided to make him a champion, he'd almost sort of lost his shine already.
So I think we'll maybe see, because if I'm remembering rightly, he's up against Mankind at WrestleMania.
Yeah, Boiler Room Brawl, isn't it?
I think he's quite agile. I think he can move around quite a lot. And in his first few pay-per-views, I'm curious to see if we're seeing that, or if maybe they don't want him doing that so much, if he's a giant.
Didn't he used to do a drop kick in WCW?
Yeah. I don't know if do you ever listen to Kevin Nash match?
No.
He's very firmly of the opinion that a big guy is a big guy and shouldn't be leaving their feet. Don't come off your feet. It dilutes it makes you look like the littler guys when you're doing that. So maybe there was a mindset in WWE that was, all this agile stuff you're doing, don't want to see that. We just want to see you power your way through monster. People. Yeah.
It's a good reveal, and it's a good way to introduce him and to bring him into the corporation. Introduce another monster, but I think, like you said there, you don't really have very many faces, main event faces as it is. You're introducing, you have to think that guy's going to be in the main event title picture. But you've already got Austin Rock, and they pair him up with Mankind. I think he ends up being referee in the main event or WrestleMania, is he not?
I think that the Mankind Big Show match is to be referee in the main match. I think the winner of that is referee, and I think I remember what happens.
Oh, right, okay. Aye. For the moment, the moment itself, I can remember watching it, being younger and being like, holy shit, that guy's massive. Giant Gonzalez was big, but he wasn't imposing the same way that he is.
Yeah, because he's kind of, I know they did the whole thing when he was brought into WCW, he was supposed to be Andre the Giant's son, and that's why he was going after Hogan and all that. And in terms of frame, he is similar in that he's obviously really tall, but he's built up as well. He's broad-shouldered. And he looks at this reveal like he's in really good shape for his size as well. Yeah, scary guy.
Yeah. And like you said, the finish quite genius, with the whole going through the cage thing and all that. Austin doesn't look like he sells it well and all that. So he's kind of looking at the ref like, have I won?
His face sells the shock of what's just happened really, really well, I thought. And that's something we definitely talked about that over the years, about how impressed we were actually by closely looking at Roman Reigns' face. Austin's facials are very, very good. He's good at telling a story with his face.
Definitely. Now that we're here and we've got, I assume there's a bit longer than 4 weeks to Mania at this point, but it does surprise me how such a short window that they've done first Rock Austin building, because I think in the 1988 Royal Rumble, Rock and Austin were the last two.
Yeah, I think that's right, yeah.
And I think when we were watching at that time, it just looked like, they're going to be the next, and obviously we knew, but it kind of felt, even from watching it, they're going to be the next two, and yet we've got 4 weeks to Mania, and really all we've seen on pay-per-views anyway is Rock getting involved with the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
But they build it to be like this huge thing of like the two biggest stars, as far as I can remember anyway.
Yeah, and it does feel, I've said before, feel a wee bit bad for Mankind, and you can look around and say there's guys like, you could put an Undertaker in a main event at any point in time. You've also got guys we maybe thought they could have done more with, like Shamrock, but I don't think you can really argue it's the two biggest stars. And they're heading to their biggest show.
This would have been the time to break the 1v1 thing for the WrestleMania main event for Foley, but I've got really fond memories of Austin Rock, so I feel the same. Do you want me to go through the Mania card before we finish up?
Yeah, go for it. I probably recognise a lot of it.
So in the space after this pay-per-view, we must get the Brawl for All tournament.
Yeah.
So we start off with a hardcore title match. Billy Gunn, Hardcore Holly, Al Snow. Oh, he's Hardcore Holly by this point.
Okay.
Jeff and Owen versus D'Lo and Test.
Okay.
I want to say Test wins a battle royal on the Sunday Night Heat to be D'Lo's partner.
This is going to be impressive if you're remembering this right.
The Brawl for All match, Butterbean versus Bart Gunn. Amazing.
Oh.
CTE Central. Winner gets to referee the main event match, Mankind versus Paul Wight. Intercontinental title match, the Road Dogg versus Ken Shamrock versus Val Venis versus Goldust, who has Ryan Shamrock and the Blue Meanie in his corner. Mommy. Kane versus Triple H. Sable versus Tori for the women's title match. European title match, Shane versus X-Pac, which I remember being actually alright. The Big Boss Man versus The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match. And main event with a special referee, a no DQ match for the World Heavyweight title, The Rock versus Austin.
So it's not me being, negative about the card, because I'm sure we'll enjoy it, but it's very much a card built for around the main event. I mean, that's what you're selling all of this on. Yeah.
There's nothing like if you and I were doing a podcast where we said we're going to take the best matches from pay-per-views and just watch them, we would probably watch the Brawl for All for a laugh and then watch Rock Austin.
I'm sure. Don't know how I'll feel watching that Butterbean against Bart Gunn match. Oh, brutal.
Yeah, I'm sure Mankind and Paul Wight's boiler room brawl, because I remember there being quite a lot of blood from a bit of glass. I've watched WrestleMania 15 quite a lot. I'm sure it's one of the first DVDs I ever bought. That and Fight Club.
Nice. Nice.
What a stereotypical teenager.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So there we go. What do you enjoy the Rumble over St. Valentine's Day Massacre so far? Probably.
Yeah, And I think, you've got the selling point of a Rumble match, and even though as we went through that, it was all about Austin and Vince, it's like a spectacle, the Rumble match, which this didn't really have. But I enjoyed the main event, and I think probably more than I expected, enjoyed the Intercontinental. No, which one am I thinking of?
Val and Shamrock.
Val and Shamrock. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that was.
The Intercontinental. Yeah, and also quite enjoyed seeing Owen and Jeff as a tag team.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice. It's crazy. Like, I don't think Austin is probably thought of as the pinnacle, like the best champion generally. Mm-hmm. Would you say?
Yeah.
Over Hogan.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I don't think he probably gets enough credit because basically him and Vince are single-handedly selling these pay-per-views.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's at a time where the WWE has been losing. I'm not sure if it's still losing here in a ratings war.
It's a good few weeks now that they're winning.
Right, and it's basically his story that has taken control back over this ratings war, and I suppose that the thing Hogan would get the shout-outs for is longevity. Like, he was at the top of the business in one company or another for such a long time. But Austin's run from breaking through to the top of the card till that point where he kind of went away for the first time. I mean, that run was huge, absolutely massive.
So, sort of 97, and he will go away this year, won't he? Because that's Survivor Series.
Yeah, and then he comes back, doesn't he, for one more with The Rock, I think, after he's been away. But yeah, his run for probably maybe overall about a 5-year period was absolutely massive.
Yeah, 100%. It's nice to watch some of it back.
Yeah.
And
let's see.
I don't want to say despite, because that's not the right word, but whilst we acknowledge all the bad stuff that's been said about Vince McMahon recently, but also like across the piece, there's so much negative about him. The stuff that he does on screen is, you can't deny that how good he is.
Yeah.
Again, underrated probably as a character.
He plays the role perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that image of him doing the double fingers with like blood pouring down his face and his facial expressions and all that, I feel like that's sort of etched when I think of this pay-per-view as well. I can think of that as well.
Yeah.
Because he knows he has to keep him in there because he knows what he's got under the ring. Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, it'd be so funny if you saw Vince like banging on the ring going like, "No, damn it," or something like that. Come on, damn it.
I was trying to look, wondering what the moment was like that sparks it, because when Austin does the stunner, there's obviously a big crowd reaction to it. But I thought, is there like someone, does he have an earpiece down there or something like that? Somebody giving him the go moment.
They have a little screen. Do they not have a little monitor?
Do they?
I think so.
I've always kind of wondered how that was all done. And I wonder how long he was under there. Is he under there for the full show?
Good point. Maybe when the Undertaker's, the lights go off for the Undertaker.
I suppose where there's a point the lights go off, that's your chance to do something.
Yeah, uncomfortable for a big man like that. It's a bit different from Hornswoggle being under there or something.
Yeah, true.
Right, we will reconvene for the Raging Climax, is what it's billed as, WrestleMania 15. So
nice.
We'll get our Raging Climaxes together and discuss.
Oh,
right. That's the
something like that.
The Val Venis sequel with Ryan Shamrock. Right, take it easy, buddy.
Cheers.